We start by standing tall, evenly weight distributed over our 2 feet. Our knees are slightly soft. Our pelvis is above our thigh bones. Rib cage is above the pelvis. Shoulders on the ribs. Your head is floating above your shoulder girdle. Taking a deep breath in and breathing all the way out. Let's just close our eyes and just check in with our body today. How are we feeling? Are there aches and pains? We're lengthening up through the spine. With every breath that we take in, we're expanding into our vertebra. And you can blink your eyes open. As you breathe in the next time, you're going to start tucking your chin in, breathing out as you roll your spine down, hanging your arms heavy in front of you, rounding through the spine, engaging your abdominal muscles to support your spine movement, taking a breath in at the bottom, and restacking your spine as you exhale on the way up. Standing up tall, lengthening through the crown of your head. Tucking the chin in on your next exhale, you're rounding the spine. You pause when your hands get to your knee height. Place your hands on the front of your thighs. Your spine is in a rounded C curve. You're going to start uncurling your spine from the tailbone. So start pushing the bum backwards just a little bit. Let the tummy come down a fraction. Let your chest lift forwards. Widen your collarbone and maybe lift your gaze if that feels good for your spine. Tuck the tailbone under and start rounding into the spine. You're articulating through each vertebra, tucking your chin in. Look to your belly button. Getting as much of a rounded position as you can. And you're going to start uncurling the tailbone, pushing the bum backwards just a fraction. Lifting the chest, widening the collarbones, lifting your gaze, shoulders away from the ears. Tuck the tailbone under, rounding into the spine, articulating through, rippling through the spine from one end to the other, and uncurling the tailbone, using your breath to help you. You breathe out as you move. One more, tucking the tailbone, rounding the spine, looking to your belly button. Hold that position. You can release your hands and you're going to start rounding your spine further down so that your hands come down to about the middle of your shins. Place the hands on the front of your shins. Start uncurling the tailbone. Lift your chest forwards to some extent. Lift your gaze. Widen the collarbones. Again, your range of movement will be slightly different. Tuck the tailbone under, but still moving as much as you can through each vertebra. Tuck the chin in, look to your belly button, and uncurl the tailbone. Chest lifts forward, widen the collarbone, lift your gaze, get an extension into the spine. Tuck the tailbone under, rounding into the spine, look to your belly button, and uncurling the spine. Last extension, lift the collarbones. Not lift the collarbones, lift the sternum. And tuck the tailbone under, rounding to the spine. Tuck the chin in. And then release the hands off the front of your shins. You can hover there if that's comfortable for you. Otherwise, come down to the bottom of your roll down position. You're going to just hang there briefly, taking a deep breath in. Feel the stretch down the back lines of your bodies. Exhale and swivel your shoulders around to the right side, pushing backwards into the left hip. And then swiveling the shoulders around through the center and to the left side, push back into the right hip. See if you can keep your weight distribution even over your feet. And then coming back to the center, round to the right side, push back into the left hip. You should feel a deep stretch into the side of the lower back on the left side when your shoulders go to the right. And then swivel the shoulders around to the left, push back into the left hip. Notice that deep lumbar stretch on the right side. Coming back to the center. Hold that stretch. Engage your tummy muscles. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, you start restacking the spine. Feel the pull on the hamstrings as you start building everything back up. Your shoulders come up, shoulders come back, lengthening up through the crown of your head. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, you tuck the chin in hang those arms heavy, round your spine. Keep those knees soft, don't let them lock. Weight stays evenly distributed over both feet. Find the bottom of your roll down, and then bend your knees enough that you can get your fingertips or your palms down to the mat. You want to fold your chest down towards your knees if you're fairly flexible. Otherwise, your knees might already be quite bent. Fold yourself towards your thighs and then straighten those legs as much as you can to get a stretch down the back line of your legs. Bend the knees to release the stretch and straighten. Push the bum up towards the ceiling and then bend the knees and straighten and bend. One more time to straighten, stretching into the back lines, holding it there, stretching the hamstrings, stretching the calves, maybe even under the feet. Soften the knees so that you soften the stretch. Keep your palms down onto the mat and walk your hands out 5 big steps and level them up under your shoulders so that you come into your front support position. Keep your tummy pulled tight. And you're going to tuck the elbows towards the thighs as you bend the elbows and then straighten. You keep your shoulders away from your ears. Your spine stays neutral. Tummy stays engaged. Legs stay strong and straight. 2 more. 1 more. Tummy up. Bend the knees down and sit yourself back briefly into a rest position. Stretch those arms forwards, just releasing into the lats. Deep breath in, expand into the back of your rib cage. So you're trying to stretch out those intercostal muscles between the ribs. And then breathing all the way out. Pull yourself back up so that your chest comes over your wrists, which means that your knees will be slightly behind your hips. You're going to take your right leg back and tuck your foot in. Take your left leg back and tuck the foot. Keep the tummy tight. Find your neutral spine. Your shoulders are away from your ears, squeezing those oranges into your armpits. Keeping your hips level, you're going to lift one foot and then tap it down. Lift, down. 3, squeeze the bum. 4, 2 more. 5, 6, tuck the toes, place the foot down, change to the other side. Lift. 2, 3, squeeze the bum on the side that's lifting. 4, 5, 6, tuck the toes and lower those knees slowly down. Sit back into a rest position. Deep breath in, expanding into the lungs. And you're going to pull yourself back up onto your all fours position, but this time take your hands wider to the edges of your mat and forwards a fair bit. So your arms are out straight in front of you. You're going to make sure that your knees are about hip distance apart. Start bringing your hips forwards and then let them come through the line between your knees and your shoulders. Keep your tummy engaged and slowly lower the pelvis down towards the mat. Shift your hands to where you need them for this to be okay in your lumbar spine. So the lower back should not take strain with this one. You might feel a slight compression, but you're able to hold yourself in that position with a little bit of abdominal support. So your tummy muscles are engaged. Your bum is a little bit squeezed. So you're keeping that lower back safe. Compression into the lower back is okay. An extension is a good thing, but only in a controlled manner. Bend those elbows, rippling your spine slowly down towards the mat and lower yourself all the way down. We're going to push up again, so adjust your hand position if you need to, wider or forwards or back a little bit. Pushing into the arms, tummies engaged, squeeze the bum cheeks just a little bit. Push the arms to a straight position. Widen the collarbones. Lift your gaze just a fraction. You're in an extension, but you're well supported, not collapsing into the spine. Holding it there Your feet can be separated, they can be together. That's not too serious, so long as your lower back is supported in that position. And then rippling slowly back down, one vertebra at a time. And just find a comfortable place for your forehead. Your arms are going to be out to the sides. I'm going to start with a slightly modified swimming movement. I want you to tighten the bum, so anchor the pelvis into the mat. Tighten the legs so that they're strong and straight. And then as you breathe in, just notice how your lungs fill. And it means that your chest can hover your nose and your forehead off the mat. You're engaging the muscles just below the shoulder blades. So check that those are the ones that are working. Then squeezing the shoulder blades together just a little bit more, float those arms up off the mat. You're engaged across the middle and upper back, not into the neck and not into the lower back. Your legs are strong and straight, and you're going to just squeeze the bum a little bit more to float those legs off the mat. You're in a full extension. Now we're going to try and straighten the arms forwards into a low V. Holding it there. Your shoulder blades are swooped down your back. Your shoulders are away from your ears, so your neck stays long. And we lower everything slowly back down. Keep your arms up in that wide V position. We're going to squeeze the bow again, anchor the pelvis. Deep breath in as you fill the lungs, you float the nose and the forehead. Engage those muscles just below the shoulder blades. Keep that little bum squeeze. Your legs are long and straight and strong, and you float the legs up first. Careful not to hold the breath. We don't brace. Lift the arms. Swooping the shoulder blades down the back. Holding it there. Now I want you to try and lift your right arm and left leg just a little bit extra, and then change to the other side. We're going slowly with this alternating swimming pattern. Adjust your arm position or your leg position to what feels okay in the shoulders or in the knees. Keep the tummy engaged, keep the bum extra squeezy. And you can start speeding it up a little bit if that feels okay for you. But you're trying to keep your spine as quiet as you can. And don't forget to breathe. And then we're going to center up the weight, pause briefly, and lower everything back down. Take your hands under your shoulders, let your elbows pop up, push yourself all the way up and back into a resting position. So just release that stretch that you're feeling, or stretch that tension that you're feeling into the lumbar or into the, often the lumbar starts getting involved without us necessarily wanting it to. Deep breath in, expanding those ribs and emptying the lungs all the way. Pull yourself back up. I want you to lie down onto your left side. So I'm going to do a little mirror image if possible. You're going to go onto your elbows. So check that your elbow is directly under your shoulder. You get a strong connection to your armpit. So that strengthens the position of the shoulder. You're going to keep your bottom leg bent. And you're going to have your top leg out long. Now I want you to lift into your waistline, and that'll help to connect that shoulder into a good position. You can see that the spine is in a straight line all the way up. So this shirt is a little bit deceiving. Let's tuck it in there. So we keep that strong line, that anchored shoulder. Place your top hand on the shelf of your hip so that you can see what your hips are doing. Keeping that shoulder and waistline position, you're going to see if you can lengthen your top leg away from you. And what that'll do is just float it up off the mat. Hold it there. Now you're going to flex the foot as you bring your leg forwards for 2 pulses. Point the toes as you take it back for 2 pulses. And forwards, back. Use your breath to help you get the pulses. And see if you can keep that strong, solid position of your body as your hip moves. Almost there. Two more. Going forwards, back, center, and bring it back down. You can bend that knee, place your feet together. I want you to put your left hand underneath you, so underneath your elbow. Your arm is going to stay straight, and you'll, just going to scoop myself up the mat a little bit. Your hand is quite far away from your hip. So check that your fingers are pointing away from your hip. You've got a hand that is placed in that slight external rotation on the shoulder. So squeeze into the armpit again so that you create a strong position for the shoulder to be in. Your feet are going to be split, so top foot in front of the bottom foot. Your knees are bent. Gives you enough space that when your wrist is further out than your shoulder, as you straighten your knees, there's space for your body to come up into that straight line. Straighten the knees, squeeze the thighs together. Keep squeezing the armpit, and then bend the knees slowly back down. That was your little kind of check position. Let's see how that feels, making the adjustments that you need to. Maybe scoot mine a little bit closer. Keep the tummy tight. Keep the squeeze into the armpit. That's super important. Otherwise, your shoulder's going to take a lot of strain sagging out of the joint. So squeeze it into the joint. Tummy tight. Squeeze those knees together and lift yourself up. Here we go. Keep that squeeze. And we're going to stretch over, lift the hips up, and come back to the center. And stretch over, and come back up. Stretching over, keep your body straight. Don't let your shoulders twist forwards, and bend those knees. Bring yourself back down. You can sit yourself up tall and swing the legs around to the other side. Coming down onto your arm, onto your elbow. Your knees are going to be bent, bottom leg bent. Elbow directly under the shoulder. Squeeze into that armpit so that you've got a strong shoulder position. Lift up into the waistline. There we go. So that you've got that straight spine position. Top leg goes out long. Check in with the shoulder every time. So you want to make sure that the shoulder is comfortable. Place your top hand on the shelf of your hip. Lengthen that leg away from you so that it floats up off the mat. Now you're going to flex the foot as you bring the leg forwards for 2 pulses and back. Forwards, back. You're keeping the armpit squeezed. You're keeping your body as quiet as you can. Back. Squeeze the bum as your leg goes back. You're not arching your back. Your spine stays neutral. Keep going. 2 more. There we go. Last one. Come back, center that leg and place it back down. You can bend both of the knees, place the legs together, split those feet so top foot goes in front of the bottom foot. Come up onto your hand. Remember your hand's quite far away from your hip so that there's space for your shoulder to come over your hand as you straighten the knees. Check in with your shoulder integrity and the correctness of that anchoring into the joint space. Pull your tummy tight, squeeze those knees together, and lift yourself up into your bridge position. Keep that tummy tight. This is your check-in. Check with your shoulder. Are you feeling okay? If your neck takes strain, you could look down, but careful that the shoulder doesn't roll forwards. And bending the knees, come slowly. Back down. Lifting up again, making the adjustments that you need to make. Keep that shoulder, I know I'm going on about it, but keep the shoulder anchored. Good, healthy, safe position, strong position for the shoulder. Lift yourself back up. Hold it there. And then reach over, stretchy body, hips to the sky, and come back to the center. And stretch. Come back to the center. One more, stretchy body. Back to the center. Bend the knees. And come back down. Come off that shoulder and just turn the wrists in a couple of circles. Catch your breath. Right. Sitting yourself on your bum, on your mat. I think I'm going to leave this shirt tucked in actually because things are going to get interesting now. So hands just behind you. Now, your hand position you can choose. You can go super traditional, which is fingers pointing towards your bum. Or you can have your legs bent. It doesn't matter too much for now. I'm talking about hands. So hands towards the bum, or you can turn your hands out to the sides, or you can turn them backwards if you're struggling with your wrists, elbows, shoulders. But ideally, you want them pointing towards your bum because you'll find that it gives you a much more intense shoulder stretch. So let's start with your knees bent. They're quite close up to your bum. Shift yourself around. I know I look like I'm wriggling, but I'm just kind of checking in with how this is going to work out. So the elbows are mostly straight, which means you'll feel a bit of tension into the wrists. You're going to squeeze the bum as you lift your hips up, which means your thighs go away from you, and you just squeeze the bum. Come slowly back down. Notice how that feels. So I feel like I need to move my feet a little bit further away from my bum. They felt like they were too close there. Squeeze the bum again, and lift the hips up. That feels a little bit better. Hold it there. Squeezing the bum. Your chin is a little bit tucked in so that your neck's not taking strain looking up at the ceiling. Hold it there. Feel that stretch in the shoulders. Notice the stretch. And then come slowly all the way back down. We're going to add on to that one. So if that felt intense enough and you want to just keep it there, that's okay. Keep it there. Otherwise, we're going to straighten the legs out. Take them out long. Let's see if we can lift the bum. Squeezing it, coming up. Just hold it there. Let's check in with that. How does that feel today? Feels okay? And come slowly back down. Do we maybe need to move the hands, change the wrist position? I'm going to try with the legs, the hands out to the side, fingers out to the side a little bit. Let's squeeze the bum, lifting up. Takes a lot of pressure off the wrist if you do it that way. Now we're going to lift one foot. We're just checking in. Can we do that? And put it down. Can we keep the hips level as we lift one foot and change sides? We're not going into the advanced level of this exercise. Right now, we're just checking in. How high can we get the hips? Can we keep them in line with the ankles and the shoulders? Maybe not yet. Let's just do one more to each side. It's all about control. And down. One more on the other side. And down. And lower the bum to the mat. You can take the pressure off the wrists. Roll them around just a few times there. And round yourself forwards, releasing that tension at the back line of the body. And sitting yourself up tall. Scoot yourself to the front of your mat. I want you to sit with your hands to the back of your thighs. So you're holding onto the back of your thighs, which is going to support you for now, which means that you can pull your spine up straight. So this is irrelevant on your hamstring flexibility. So a lot of people think they can't sit up on their bums because their hamstrings are too tight. They can't sit up maybe like that. But if you bend your knees, you release the hamstrings. So the hamstrings come out of it. So take the hamstrings out of it. Pull yourself up tall. I want a straight spine. You're on top of your bum bones. Lean that straight spine backwards. You're hanging on your arms, so you're helping yourself. Lift one foot up to tabletop. See if you can balance there and lift the other foot up to tabletop. Have you rounded into your spine? Draw yourself up tall. Hold it there. We're doing our teaser prep, which means let's take the hands away from the thighs. See if you can hold it there. Hip flexors are going to work. Now let's see if we can take the arms up to our ears and slowly down. Maybe not up to the ears yet. That's okay. And down. And down. Almost done. That's number 4. We're going to do 2 more. Going up. And 1 more. Whoops. Bit of a wobble. And down. You could hold on to the back of your thighs just to give your hip flexors a little bit of a break, but don't be too kind. Holding it there. We're now going to take the hands away from the legs. See if you can tap your toes down to the mat and bring them back up and down and up and down. Are you keeping your spine straight? Mine's getting a little floppy. And down and up. Last two. Up. Last one. And up. Hold it there. Support the back of your legs with your hands. Tuck the tailbone under and roll yourself all the way down. Bring those knees up to your chest. Oh, morning sun is beautiful. It is actually. I sounded sarcastic. I wasn't. Beautiful. Hold it there for a few seconds. Maybe rock side to side. Catch your breath, because there's more to come. Let's take your legs out long. Both legs out, straight and flat on the mat. Arms come up to the ceiling. You know what's coming next. You're going to breathe out as your arms go back. Breathe in as you bring your arms up, and then you set them up on your thighs, and the out breath, and pushing those legs away from you is what brings you up into your C-curve spine, sitting up tall, straightening up, and tuck the tailbone under, rolling all the way back. Try and work with your breath. Send those feet away from you, sitting up into your C-curve, sitting up tall, tuck the tailbone under, roll yourself all the way down. And maybe this time fold yourself over your feet, get an extra little stretch down the back lines, and then sit yourself up tall again. And tuck the tailbone all the way down. Oh, those legs, it's hard today, it's hard today, it's hard today, the body says. But the mind says, suck it up, sweet pea. We're going to do two more. Some days will be easier than others. Sometimes you've trained a little bit harder and your body's still fatigued. Round yourself forward, stretch out the back lines, and then sit yourself up tall. Last one, going all the way back. Come on legs, stay down. And round yourself over. Sit yourself up tall. This is your last one, going down onto your back. Tuck the tailbone under and lie yourself flat onto your back. Let's find your center of your mat. If you've moved a little bit, that often does happen. You're going to take both of your legs up to tabletop. Take your hands up to the ceiling. Interlace the fingers. Place the hands behind your head. Elbows in your peripheral vision. You're going to tuck the chin, lengthen the back lines of your bodies as you lift up into a little chest lift. Hold it there. Keeping your shoulder blades as away from the ground as you can, I want you to rotate your shoulders to the right, straighten your left leg. Rotate the shoulders to the left, straighten the right leg. Try and keep your hips as quiet as you can, so the hips stay down on the mat, while your shoulders just roll side to side, keeping their height. Your legs straighten out one at a time, keeping their height. To the right. We're going to do 3 more, so go to the left again. Roll to the right. And then 1 more to the left. We've got to wake up these tummy muscles. They've got some work coming. Come back to the center. Shoulders come all the way down. And the legs can be hugged up to your chest, or they can be stretched out straight. Whatever feels nice. There you go. Right. We're going to take the hands down to the sides. Take the legs down to the mat just briefly. Check that you've got some space behind you, because we're going to go into the rollover. In fact, I'm going to scoot down the mat just a little. There's some space here. Right. Yeah, we're good. Right. Hands are going to be down by your sides. You're going to bring your legs back up to tabletop. Then extend your legs up to the ceiling. Take your legs down to about 60 degrees as you breathe in. As you breathe out, You're going to lift your legs over your head to parallel to the floor if you can. Keep your tummy engaged. So your tummy is supporting you in this position. It's really important in this position you do not turn your head to look at the screen or anything like that. We're going to flex the feet, widen the legs, and lower the legs as much as you can if that feels available to you. And then slowly rolling the vertebra slowly back down to the mat. You are supporting yourself with your arms. As your legs come to 90 degrees, your toes point, your feet come together, you're 60 degrees. You breathe out as you roll over. Your arms help with this exercise. Don't feel like it's all abdominal, although it is abdominal. Legs go down. Roll yourself all the way back down to the mat. Close the legs. Up and over. Flex the feet, split the legs, lower them down if that feels okay. And then slowly placing the vertebra back down to the mat. Point the toes, feet come together. Lifting up is our last one. Flex the feet, split the legs, lower them down. And then slowly placing each vertebra down to the mat. Bend the knees, feet together, and just hug them up to the chest. Have a little rest. Deep breaths in and out. Just tucking wardrobe problems in here. See if that works. I don't know. Right, hands are still down by your sides. Your knees can come back up to tabletop, wherever they were. We're going to try the corkscrew. So let's do a little prep for it. You're going to straighten your legs up to the ceiling as far as they'll go. If they still stay slightly bent, that's fine. Your thighs are the important part. So your thighs are pointing straight up to the ceiling. If you can get your legs straight, that's great. If they stay slightly bent, that's also totally fine. Hands are down to the sides. Maybe take them a little bit wider than maybe just to the edges of your mat. You're going to roll the hips over to one side. And then dipping down into a little U bend or a U shape, bring your legs up to the other side and straight across back to the center. Going over the opposite direction. Little horseshoe, up to the other side and back to the center. Keep going and alternating sides. Notice that you can roll on your pelvis, so almost on your sacrum, that coccyx area, but that it's your abdominal muscles that control you, and it's the lumbar area that rotates and moves. So it's actually a controlled movement of your spine in a rotation. Keep going. Keep it out of the shoulders if you can. Don't let those shoulders come up to the ears. There we go. You can see my knees are staying slightly bent. That's okay. It's really important that you focus more on the movement of the pelvis. So your pelvis rolls to the side. It dips down, opens towards the end of you, and then you bring it back to the center. Let's just do one more. Going to the side you did not start on. So even yourself out. Bring those legs back to the center and hug the knees up to the chest. Now we're going to attempt the proper corkscrew. It might not be very pretty, so you might want to apologize in advance. But it includes the rollover. So we started with the rollover. We just did the corkscrew prep. We're going to add those two together. So hands are down by your sides. Legs are extended up to the ceiling. Let's start with a straight rollover first. So take them down to 60 degrees. Breathe out to roll over. Now hold it there. Don't dip those feet down. So take that out of the rollover. Take your hips slightly over to the right and then roll yourself down on the right side of your spine. Coming down and then stay there. Come up the right side. Keep those legs glued together. Swing and not swing. Move your hips over to the left. Come down on the left side. Harder on that side for me. Come up on the left side. We're doing a slight modification of the corkscrew. Coming over to the right side. Go down on the right side. Oh, head's coming up a little bit, that's okay. Come up on the right side. Oh, it's getting hard. Shift those hips over to the left as your last one. Come down. Lift up on that left side. Come back to the center. And then slowly bring yourself back down to the mat. Take those legs out long. Take the arms above your head. A good morning stretch. Just make yourself as long as you can. Deep breaths in and out. There's a lot of work that goes into that one in particular. The arms work pretty hard, the abdominals work hard. There's a lot of control. And so it's really just about practicing these things and seeing how much better we can get. Yeah? All right. Hold behind the thighs, give yourself a kick, and just sit yourself up. Still towards the front of your mat. So stay in the front of your mat if you've moved. Shiggle yourself forwards a little bit. You're going to hold on to the front of your shins. And I want you to lift your feet up off the mat and round yourself into a ball. We're going to go into our rolling like a ball. So check that you've got space behind you. There are no dogs or cats or children, anything like that. Pot plants. Tuck yourself in. Make yourself as tight as you can. And just balance there for a few moments. So taking a deep breath in and breathing out. Maybe close your eyes to notice how your breath shifts you. So it makes you kind of rock backwards and forwards. And the idea with rolling like a ball is that you use your breath to shift you into that rolling action. So as you stay in that rounded position, open your eyes. Keep your tummy tight. Keep a tight sort of pull on your ball shape. Rounding your spine. Keep a C curve. Breathe in as you want to roll yourself back. And out as you want to come back up. And keep going. The nice thing about rolling like a ball is that it gives you a little bit of a spine massage. You might notice that you start shifting on your mat, so you start maybe pulling to the one side. It's just something to be aware of. And then see how much you can not use your hips in terms of changing the angle. We're going to do just one more. Pause briefly in that balancing position. And then sit yourself up nice and tall. So that was just a little massage for the back there. We're going to, let's actually stay in that sort of position. With your hands down next to you on the floor, we're going to go into a roll over, but from a roll like a ball. So you can lift yourself up into your ball position. As you roll back, your hands come down to the side so that you can push to get your legs over into your rollover position. And then we're going to lift the bum a little bit more, extend and go into a pike. So you could watch the first one. Not that that'll be perfect, but let's give it a shot. Holding yourself in your roll like a ball. Check yourself behind you. You've got nothing off the mat behind you too. And you're going to roll yourself back and roll into your rollover. It's the most lovely, easy way to get into the rollover. And then we're going to start lifting the legs up to the ceiling, squeezing the bum, and see how tall you can get yourself. And then come slowly back down and lifting up again. Lift, 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 lift. You're balancing. And down. Your tummy's working hard. You're trying to squeeze your bum. It's a lot of balancing. And down. I've got 2 to go. If you're still watching, maybe do it. Last one. And down we go and roll ourselves back up. Not great control on that one, but that's okay coming out of it. It's fun anyway. It's actually a really nice way to get into your roll over. If you struggle to go from just lying flat on the ground, is that go from a rolling like a ball, place your hands down, roll yourself back, and just use that momentum. Because to be honest, who said we couldn't use momentum? You know, who made all the rules around here anyway? Right. We've got one more roll over exercise. It's the scissors exercise. So we're going to go back into our rollover. And then I want you to take your hands and place them under your pelvis. So you're basically going to be supported on your elbows and your hands are going to be under your pelvis. Again, I'll show you this one, but once you can see the position you want to get into, then join me because I'm not doing more than one of these. Okay, so we're going to go into our rollover, so we may as well go in a roll like a ball movement because it's fun. So we're up in our roll like a ball. We're going to tuck the tailbone under, roll ourselves back, and just hold ourselves there. Now tuck the elbows in and place the hands under the pelvis. You're going to open up your pelvis just a little bit. So you're going to go into a bit of a lower back arch. Straighten those legs if you can and start taking one leg away from you. You're trying to get into a scissor action and then change sides. I'm doing this one super slowly because I think that control is more important and precision is more important than doing it super fast in a fancy way. You're trying to make your scissors even. Just change my hand position here. So don't worry too much about your front leg. More important is that the back leg goes down. One more. There we go. And then pause in your roll over. Place the hands back down and roll yourself down to the ground. There you have it. Bring yourself back up into your sitting position. We're going to try our open leg rocker. Now, if I'm very honest, this one is possibly one of my hardest ones, and I'm not quite sure why. So to be honest, if you're still watching this relatively amateur video, then and you figure out why it's so hard for me, please let me know. Let's take those legs up. We're in our teaser prep. Take your hands and place them on the outside of your ankles or your shins, so kind of wherever you can get a good grip. See if you can straighten those legs out and sit in your V shape. So your back is straight, your legs are mostly straight. And just hold it there. Separate the legs slightly. Open leg rocker doesn't mean you have to be like your feet are in stirrups. You just want them sort of mat distance apart. Holding that V shape, you're going to C-curve your spine, rock yourself back, and then come back into this position. So tuck the tailbone, come back up, whoa, bit of momentum there, and then hold your C-curve, extend your spine. I mean, not C-curve, hold your V-sit, extend the spine. Tuck the tailbone, come back up. There we go, it's not too bad today. And tuck. Didn't make it back up, that's okay. Keep the V-sit, extend the spine, hold it there, and tuck the tailbone again. And up, whoops, balancing. Let's do one more. Tucking in. And extend the spine, balance. Bend your knees, bring them back together, and give yourself a little pat on the back. Well done. Let's lie down for the next one. So we're going to go into our glute stretch. I want you just to cross your left ankle over onto your right thigh. Lift the right thigh up. Hold behind that leg. Pull the knee up to your chest. Pull it up as tightly as you can, and then push with that left elbow onto your left inner thigh so that you can get a little bit of an extra external rotation on that left hip. And then maybe, if it's available to you, you could arch into the lower back just a little bit. Taking deep breaths in and out. Muscles and fascia love oxygen. And also deep breathing distracts you from the discomfort of the stretch. And then you're going to let go behind that right leg. Slide your left side all the way over your right. Hold on to both of your shins and pull those knees up towards your chest while pulling out onto your ankles. So your ankles are being pulled away from each other and your knees are being pulled up to your chest. You're going to feel a deep stretch in the piriformis on your left side. So it's a deep glute stretch. Just hold it there. And then gradually you can just release that hold. Place your right foot down, gently uncross the left leg. And change it to the other side. So place the right ankle onto your left thigh. Lift the left leg up. Hold behind your left leg. Pull that left knee towards your chest as much as you can. And then maybe start pushing with that right elbow onto the right thigh. And maybe you can lengthen the tailbone away from you just a little bit. It's a fairly intense stretch, not painful, but intense. And then deep breaths. And then we just release the back of that left thigh, cross the legs all the way over. Bring your knees up close to your chest and hold onto your ankles or your shins. And then pulling your knees up to your chest, pull the ankles away from one another and feel a deep piriformis stretch on that right side. I'm going to feel the glute, but it's a deep glute muscle that we're targeting on this one. Holding it there, deep breathing, try and rest into your stretch. Maybe turn the head side to side a little bit. Maybe it feels nice. No neck tension, please. And then just gradually release that left leg, place it down, uncross the right leg. Bring your left knee up towards your chest, and then just roll your hips over to the right side. Stretch your left arm out to the side in your T-junction. Place your right hand on your left leg to pull that knee down towards the floor. And just rest into that stretch. So you're not forcing the shoulder down, you're not forcing the knee down. You're just softening into that rotation. So deep breaths, spiraling into the spine. Not being forceful, not being aggressive, just being kind to our bodies. They've worked hard for us today. And then maybe just with your right hand, help your left knee to come all the way back over. Place your left foot down. Bring your right knee up. Let it come across your body and roll those hips over to the side, stretching your right arm out to the side. Roll the right knee down towards the floor. And just soften into that stretch again. Notice maybe where the one side feels significantly tighter than the other. Maybe one shoulder wants to pop up more. Maybe the knee is not quite as close to the floor as maybe the other side was. And use that left hand just to push the right knee back up. Coming back to the center, both knees come up to your chest. Hug them up tightly as you can. Round your chest up towards your knees. Tuck your chin in towards your knees. Hold that little ball position. Transfer your hands to behind your legs. Give yourself a kick and sit yourself all the way up. Now the last thing that I want to attempt, we're going to try a headstand. going to be modified. It's not going to be a full-on headstand. Don't think I've lost my mind completely. But with a headstand, your starting point is to have your hands just outside shoulder width. Place your head in a triangle position between your two hands. So it must be in front of your hands. It can't be in line with your, well, it can be in line with your hands, but good luck. So place your hand, the top of your head is going to go onto the mat in a triangulated position. You'll notice that your elbows are then bent to 90 degrees. So it means that you can push your bum up to the sky and start walking your feet up closer so that your knees can touch your elbows. Find a strong position for your neck and your shoulders. So remember that little orange squeeze that we've got on the shoulders. You're going to tummy tight and see if you can lift one foot, and then maybe see if you can lift the other foot. Maybe you can balance there and just hold it there. Keep the tummy tight. This inversion work is really important. Stay in your headstand. Increased blood flow into our brain, changing the direction of the flow around our body. Obviously, if you have high blood pressure or other chronic conditions, then be aware of that. Place the one foot down, tuck the toes, place the other foot down, knees come off, place your knees to the ground, release your feet, roll yourself back up, extend the spine, lift your chest forwards, lift your gaze. We're going to go into one more. Round the tailbone, tuck the chin towards the chest, place your head back down to the mat. You can adjust your position if you were struggling a little bit. Tuck those toes in, lift the bum up towards the ceiling. Go, elbows go onto your knees. As you hold it there, you check in with your body and see if you maybe lift one foot. Maybe you can lift the other foot. Shoulders away from the ears, armpits are squeezed. Deep breaths, your tummy is engaged. Place the one foot down, tuck the toes, other foot down, knees come down. Place your hands in front of your head, push into your arms, push your bum back up towards the ceiling into your downward dog position. This should feel like a piece of cake compared to everything else. Pedaling one heel down at a time towards the mat. You can shift your weight side to side a little bit, get a nice deep stretch into each Achilles tendon. Your spine is straight, your arms are straight, you're long between your tailbone and your hands. And then you can start walking your hands and your feet towards each other until you find the bottom of your roll down. Magic. And as you hold it there, you just hang. You notice how warm your body feels. You check that your weight is evenly distributed over your feet, that your knees are soft, that your tummy is engaged. And as you start exhaling, you start restacking your spine, building each vertebra back onto the next one. Standing up tall. I feel tall. Head towards the ceiling, arms out to the sides. Take a deep breath in. Stretch for the sky. And breathing out. Breathing in again. Be aware that your blood pressure may drop a little bit, so careful not to fall over or pass out. Arms down to the side. Just stand tall. Close your eyes briefly for a minute. Breathing deeply. Your body's maybe tingling a little bit. It's feeling like it's worked. Feeling like it's done a great job for you today. Just appreciating what we've got and what we can look forward to. Thank you for joining me. It was lovely to have you watching this video, and please feel free to send me any messages if anything didn't feel great or if you have any questions. I'd love to hear from you.